Okay, great. So we're recording now. So can we start with having everybody agree that we can make this video public with a thumbs up? Or Sabah, you can just verbally say. Okay, great. Thank you. Awesome. We can't hear you, Sabah. We can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, sure. She's with me. My husband is going to come in 15, 20 minutes and he'll take care of her. So, sorry.
Perfect. No, that's great. We got an extra worker. That's awesome. Great. Okay, so I think let's start with the document. The first question that I want to ask you guys, because there was no, let me read the comments, because now this is the first time I'm getting to read the comments. First introduction of ourselves, and then of the project, and talk about the presentation this Friday in school. Maybe not add this part. Ask Jared. Ask Jared. Leave the idea of speaking of the opportunity if I've been change the presentation to ask Jared about this. Not this part, change this wording, take this part out, invite the experts to participate. Okay, good. Okay, great. And then you added this. Should we just mention okay instead of VCP? What is the vaccine as a topic? Choose word, matrix of concern, change the wording. Okay, great. So let me ask you guys, because the first thing that I noticed when I was going through this, and especially in the version I was just looking at where I wasn't seeing all the comments, is that this letter that you guys were modeling from was a letter to the news media, asking if they would cover the story. And so, the bottom letter had a bit of that, including, let me know if you would like to cover this story. But the invitation to the experts is to ask the experts if they want to, participate in this process somehow, right? Not cover the story, but to provide their comments or be interviewed in our video or be on a panel discussion or something along those lines, right? So I just want to understand, again, in terms of if you guys were actually writing this for the media or whether you're writing it for the experts or what you were thinking, in terms of the audience for this.
We were thinking about the experts, right? And yeah, we took like as a basis the email that you sent us, like I think the first one that I think was for Sophia, I'm not sure. So we took that email, as a basis, and then we just like wrote it again, like in our words and what we think like would like be better like for the experts. And I mean, like the first version is just like what you wrote with our comments, and then we created our version in the way that we think that it's gonna make more sense for the experts. But yeah, this last part, we should change it for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
Got it. Okay, got it. I just wanted to make sure because it threw me off a little bit that I was looking at a letter to the press, and then it even again finished with if you want to cover this story. But I appreciate that you guys were gearing it towards the experts. So I think it's a good start. We're not going to spend a lot of time tonight on this part because we want to focus a bit of time on the press release and what we're going to prepare for the media as well in particular. But I think this is a good start. I really appreciate what you guys have done to kind of cut this down and narrow this down. I'm realizing as we're going over it now that your version is probably closer, but we do have a generic email that we were sending out to the experts when we were inviting them to join the Experts for Action platform before. So what I want to do is I want to find that email so that we can look at it as well. And maybe if you guys want to do a little tweaking after the meeting, you can incorporate maybe some concepts from there. Because I am going to go and, kind of create a final version. But if you guys can evolve it even more, with any of the content what we have from before, then that would be great. I think the easiest thing to do, let me log into HubSpot And let me send you guys the exact email that we sent previously to people. That's probably going to be the easiest way, right? Let me think of who I could think. I think we sent her one of the early emails on this thing. Okay, so actually she was one of the people we talked to on the phone first. Let me go back and see if we can find one of the people we sent an email to first. Yeah, this is another person that returned our call. Let me see. I think we have a template in here. Let me see if we've got a template. I'll just send it to you guys. Oh, you guys are right there. Okay, so first email to experts. Let's assume that works. So, yeah, so this is what we were using. So you can use it as a reference as well in terms of getting some ideas. I think you guys are on the right track. I think that what you've got there is a good start and will really help me. So I really appreciate it. Okay, let me change this. That's good. I don't know if I'm logged in as somebody different or why it's not doing that. This email isn't integrated with HubSpot. Go to your settings to sync it. Selected. Let me pause the video because I don't want to take. Okay, so all right, I think at this point, what we should do is look at the presentation. We asked the people working on the presentation to be done by now so that we could review it, so that we could use that presentation to kind of make our press release. So let's go ahead and take a look and see where we're at in terms of the presentation. I haven't looked lately. So is this the whole draft, Sabah, or where is the, I have to go further for the draft? Or do you want to give us the link real quick, or where's the presentation?
I just sent on the vaccine consideration page maybe an hour ago.
So this one?
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
I think they're working on the introduction part. I don't know what else to add in the second part and in the conclusion part.
Okay, great. Let me just, okay, I'm going to read it out loud so we can know it's here so we can all know it's here. And then we can see. And also, why don't you guys put a clock on it? We can do the time and see how long this takes for me to go through to read this. Somebody ready to start with the stopwatch? You ready, Maria? Okay, here we go. The Vaccine Considerations Project is currently tracking experts' opinions on whether and when COVID-19 vaccine boosters are warranted for those that have already received full doses of the Moderna and Janssen vaccines. Vaccine producers and companies, public health officials, and government agencies have some mixed opinions about the COVID-19 vaccine and booster in the last 2 months. CDC and FDA issued a collaborative statement that Americans who have been fully vaccinated do not need a booster shot at this time. The following day, Pfizer BioNTech said that the third dose will be effective and favorable within 6 to 12 months following the second dose to sustain highest levels of protection. Based on the vaccination history, the first vaccinated Americans were the frontline workers, elderly, immunocompromised, residents at long-term amenities, long-term care amenities. They got their first dose in mid-December 2020, and they were fully vaccinated by mid-January. Starting August, the federal government's message was, you don't need a booster. Most Americans by this time crossed over the 6-month threshold. The people who were vaccinated first are the ones who least want to see experiencing a breakthrough infection. Following the mixed and confused messages from the American government, who mentioned the vaccination guidance could change. They failed to underline that the guidance can change so drastically from you don't need the booster to go get a booster. The change of decision happened within a matter of weeks, leaving people confused and overwhelmed. Our president, Mr. Biden, on July 29th, said that many of you are wondering if you'll need a booster shot to add another layer of protection. As of now, my medical advisors say the answer is no. No American needs a booster now. That's great. The process for the evaluation has also been mixed messages, on the surface appearing to solicit outside expertise, when in reality, you are by process severely limiting the feedback that can be given. Since the written comments are due before the data is available, the application to provide an oral presentation is due before the data is available, and the slides for the oral presentation will be due very close to when the data is first made available to the public. This process needs to be reevaluated and restructured to give experts ample time to make careful considerations of the data to inform their opinions. This will serve to build trust in both the scientific community and in the public, especially when you have your most senior staff resigning, reportedly in protest. Don't you think now would be a good time to make sure you're rigorously pursuing expert feedback rather than rigorously avoiding it? Great. So how much time was that, Maria? We're not seeing it. We can't.
Oh, no, you cannot hear me. So it was just like 3 minutes and 8 seconds. So yeah.
Okay. So it needs to be about 2/3 of that. And there's a lot of others. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So Sabah, was it you primarily that was composing this, or who was all working on this?
I wrote the first 4 paragraphs, and I don't know who added the process for the evaluation. I don't know who added last 2. Yeah, I added the pink stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then that's Katie in the green. And then that's Johnny in the yellow. Okay. Okay, got it. And you created the conclusion as well, Sabah? Great. Thank you. So, okay. So there's a lot of editing that has to be done, but I think the general idea of it is what we're looking for, enough for us to have a sense of what we can kind of work on for the for the press release here. I think I think Sabah, as soon as we're done with this meeting, let's you and I talk one-on-one a little bit, just because I want to have like the references that you used and some of the different things for me to decide which parts I want to include and which parts I want to cut out. So yeah, so we'll talk about that, so you can send that over to me as soon as you can with the different links and references and that sort of thing. Did you guys get to review the different press releases and the different emails that I sent, previously to the different press outlets, the bunch of emails that I sent to you guys in the afternoon?
Yes, we looked at that. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sabah, did you get a chance to do that, or were you busy writing? You're busy writing, okay. I understand. We are happy for the writing. Okay, so what I'm going to show you, I mentioned it yesterday, and we'll just briefly cover it because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, is when we go to outreach team, press and social media, press releases. So this is what, and you saw the draft press release. So this is great. I actually hadn't seen this before. If I saw it, I didn't remember it when I saw it today, that Emma and Wendy and Mackenzie and Amy all worked on this. This is really great. Thank you guys for doing that. So we have this model template for the press release, which is something we can work off of. We can change the logo and some of the other stuff, but we have a template that's, essentially this is like what a traditional template looks like for a press release, and then we can kind of start filling in the details. So we have to start, figuring out like what are some of the details that we really want to pull in. I shared with you guys from our, meeting this morning. I just shared the video with you. I haven't watched it yet. I wanted to kind of find again that clip that I said, this clip is going to be, what we're going to send to the media. Remember I said that when I started to get all heated about what was happening. So I actually want to find that clip, because essentially the sentiment that's in that clip is what we want to put into the press release. I have the feeling, you guys tell me what you think. This is my feeling, from an outreach team perspective, is I think we almost have to take that kind of energetic approach about this. Almost have to take, like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, are you serious? Like that type of energy. Because I think that's how we get across like how intolerable this is, type of thing, right? And I think it's important at this point, we've worked on being diplomatic, like I said in the past about it, but I think that people will respect us, speaking our mind about this. And also I suspect, like I shared with you guys earlier, I suspect that a lot of the staff at the FDA are really going to be cheering us on and really glad that we're putting this message out there, because I think a lot of them as scientists want this to be a more scientific approach. And I think that many of them are probably disillusioned and disenchanted that it's being kind of ramrodded through in this way without any meaningful public discourse. So I think that, in this kind of little bit of calculus of are we, being the heroes or are we being the villains and, doing this? I think at this point, we just have to be honest and open and, just kind of speak our minds, so to speak, right? And I think that I'm going to talk about it more in the team meeting tomorrow, but I'm feeling like our project is going to start to embody that voice a little bit more. You know, we've been talking about, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it now, but it's relevant because we have to write everything and everything right now. I feel that we've been, you know, for a long time, we've been talking about being neutral as a project, which I still want the project to be able to serve all people in a neutral way. I want the system to be able to serve all people so all people can use it. But every single one of us has things that we care about. And I feel like in an environment where we're not able to freely share what we care about, that there's some level of suppression and repression happening in that way. That I feel like there's some kind of like lid on us, that we have these feelings, but we're not really allowed to express them here type of thing. And I think that checking our voice and silencing our voice for different reasons is part of the problem and challenge that we're having in society right now. So I think, and this is what I'm going to share with the team and get their feedback. You guys can give me a little feedback if you want now. Like I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it now, but I think what I'm going to say in the meeting is that I think I would like to take the approach as an organization that we encourage people to use their voices rather than encourage people to suppress their voices. And we're an organization that's inclusive of all voices. So we don't remain neutral by having no voices. We remain neutral by having all voices. And that we, you know, in that context, you know, each one of you can share whatever it is that you want. You can advocate whatever you want. You can freely share amongst the team members. You can come in here on a mission, like I'm going to do this, you know, and use the systems to do that. And collectively, you know, it's okay for us to do that, kind of like we are right now. Again, asking the FDA to be accountable to science if that's what they say they want to be accountable to, right? We're only asking them to be accountable to the standards that they keep saying that they're setting, right? So if they really want to subject this information to a scientific process, then let's help them design it in a more scientific way. Let's help them see the utter absurdity of the way that they're doing it, right? So again, I think for a variety of reasons, coming out very strong, very vocal, you know, it's going to get people's attention more, right? It's going to get the committee members' attention more, the staff members' attention more, maybe the administrators, maybe the government, you know, might not be surprising if we actually hear from somebody from the government after this, you know, that wants to help create a channel for our feedback, you know, that's maybe helps them more. Somebody like Russell Brand or some other influencer could say, here's the truth, listen to these people, they're hitting the nail on the head, like this is the real hypocrisy that's going on right now, and we can't keep feeding it by trying to pretend like it's all, you know, the way that it should be. Like there's much better ways to be dealing with these things. So it's those sorts of things, which again, some people may perceive as a non-neutral stance. And, you know, I think again, we somehow institutionalize this disclaimer that anything that any of us individually are saying or doing is our own opinion, our own feelings, and not a reflection of the organization. And that can include me as well. You know, that I can speak out as an upset person without having to, you know, keep my mouth closed. And that's part of the biggest challenge, because again, I'll share a little bit more tomorrow, but since we're finishing it up now, you know, the part of the reason that there's been, for me, at least as the leader of the organization, to not be vocal about what I care about is because, as you know, at some point that can get sensitive for sponsors, right? That's when sponsors start to get concerned. They're like, we can't back this organization because we don't know what the founder is going to say at some point, and it could be something that we don't align with, and it could be something that, you know, is going to lose us customers if we're sponsoring this organization and Jared's saying all of these things about the rainforest or something like that, you know what I mean? But I think, again, it's a little bit of a risk, but I think, again, at this point, we need to set this kind of new standard so that the public can understand and make the distinction that we're made up of people with voices, and yet all of us are in a way taking like an oath. That's kind of how we'll put it in a different word, but we're all kind of taking an oath that as much as we are have interests that we want to pursue personally and issues that we care about personally, we're all committed to building a system that anybody can use, right? We're all committed to building a system that people that have different opinions than us can use. And in that way, we're being like a neutral organization in the sense that everything we're creating is made for everybody, right? We're not trying to exclude people or opinions or anything like that. We want everybody to be on the platform, and we want to show everybody that it's okay to speak your mind. And not only is it okay, it's necessary in this dire and urgent time for people that have a voice to use their voice to, you know, say what's right and really, you know, create a better world for us, right? So any questions or comments? I'd love to hear what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the neutral vision is really important for people to be like interested in the project. So yeah.
Do you think that this is going to be able to maintain our neutrality, even if I'm making public comments about certain issues like climate change or the Amazon or our corals dying or all, you know, the things that hurt me and that I, you know, am upset about, and reasons that are motivating me to, you know, change the world? Do you think that me saying all of those things are going to help or hurt, I should say, are going to hurt our perception of neutrality as an organization?
Yeah, because the thing is that we're actually sending messages about our perspective on those topics. So yeah, for sure, we are saying our mentality over those topics. So I think it's kind of difficult, but at the same time, maybe the tone can help to like kind of sugarcoat it.
That's the challenge that I've been having, Maria, honestly. And again, we'll talk more tomorrow. I appreciate you guys helping, you know, kind of start the conversation. That's the challenge that I've been having, is I've been feeling like I've been tiptoeing a lot, and like almost all organizations need to tiptoe, right? Because almost all organizations have those kinds of challenges. But I want to free everyone in the organization from the tiptoeing part, right? It's suppressing our power. It's holding our power down. It's not allowing us to unleash our power. You get what I'm saying? So I know somehow it's going to be more challenging, you know, for organizations or entities to back us in certain ways, but at some point they'll have to see through all of the different voices and see the systems that we're creating and value the systems and see the neutrality of the systems and kind of share the line with us that yes, Jared and different people that work for him or are doing internships or whatever have individual causes that they care about, and they're using these systems to support those causes, and they're showing us how to use these systems to support those causes. But these systems can be used just as well to support the other side of the cause, you know, type of thing. So I think that's where I think we talked about it enough. We'll have to keep seeing how it plays out, but I'm just noticing over and over again that it's getting more and more difficult the more and more difference that we want to make in the world. It's hard for me not to frame it within the context of we're dealing with a freaking emergency because there's so many, you know, terrible things happening on such scales, climate being the biggest, and that's the thing, is that I think that I don't want to go down that whole road. Let's get back to where we are with this. So the thing for tonight is for our press release that, we want to pick some of these hard hitting quotes. So I think Sabah, you had some good quotes in there. Let's go back and let's see what quotes we might pull out. Oh, I think it was within the first minute or two where I went off a little bit this morning, right? I just want to see if you guys don't mind. I would like to find that part of the video because I do want to see how long that is and see if we can package it, because that's going to be a part of maybe our press release, literally. So let's just see for a minute or two if we can find where it starts and where it stops.
Go ahead.
We'll do the agreement when Sabah comes on in this space, as I think you guys are perceiving, where the infinite possibilities of us to figure out reality through our technology. Life is all at what we're doing. A couple things. One, let me just think where I want to go with this. One, I got to have extended conversations with each of you on the same this week to have you here. And now we're thumbs up. Okay, be in the way now. So what can we realistically do in 48 hours? I'm going to have Mariana of what we're the stage actually going to think of our performances as the next week, which is the biggest right now, right? Be level that we can, right? If they wouldn't have to be so far off, right? To be that perform at, like how can we come even close if we think, how am I trying to, what is we're capable of, but whatever, right? With how we want to share with the different aspects, we need to, connect with the public. We have an opportunity maybe to connect with. All right, it's not as simple as I thought, so let's not spend more time on it now. We'll get into it in a little bit. But you guys remember what I was sharing, the sentiment about that I was sharing, and the impassionedness of what I was sharing about how the FDA is, touting science and trust them and all of that, and at the same time not creating a opportunity to allow that to happen. I think let's go into what Sabah shared with us and let's pull out like some main points. So let's think about where we're going to put this. So let's create a new, let's make a copy of the draft press release, and let's that actually is probably not what I wanted to do, because I probably wanted, it's fine. Okay, it is fine. Okay, let's leave it at that for the moment. I don't know what all of this stuff is. We'll come back and look at that later to see if we should add all of that stuff. But let's just start like a bullet list of what we think we want to include in our press release. So, okay, CDC and FDA issued a collaborative statement that Americans do not need it at this time. Okay, with the hyperlink, great. So I think we're gonna have to decide like how much detail we put, because like the press release needs to have only a couple of details, but then we're gonna have other like we talked this morning about maybe me shooting a video, doing like an editorial of this, and I still may do that. I'm still thinking about that. I'll be very honest, my head is spinning a little bit in terms of what we can get done in time at this point, because we're talking about, trying to get out both the press release and the email to the experts like by 5 a.m. tomorrow. And if I go to sleep at 8:30 and I sleep for 5 hours, then I'm going to be up at 1:30, which is going to be only like 3.5 hours before 5 a.m. So in 3.5 hours, what am I going to be able to accomplish? And we have a long list of things to accomplish right now, right? So I'm a little concerned about the depth of what we can get done. I'm trying to figure out, between the press release, between the experts, what can we finalize now? What can we send out? Can I shoot a video? Is that going to be an effective use of time? Is that going to convey things effectively? I shared this morning, I'll just remind you guys, and then I'll let you guys give me your feedback, because I'm still really a little bit lost as to how to manage all of this right now. Like I said, if I shoot, let's say a 3 to 5 minute video, that's kind of a preview of the presentation that I'm going to give, along with some of this impassioned language. And then we send that, to the press, and we send that to some of the experts. There's a big difference, between how they're going to perceive who we are and what we're showing up with, whether they actually, see a couple minutes of that or whether they don't, right? Like it makes a difference. And this is, what I think about all the time. Very similarly, like we talked about, it's going to make quite a difference for the experts if there's a 3 to 5 minute video explaining what the Experts for Action platform is and what we're doing with experts and all of that. So again, that's going to be a big difference whether that's there or not when they show up tomorrow morning. So now that's 2 videos to work on the scripts, to shoot, to edit, whatever editing is required. We haven't even got into the email yet, to the expert and to the press, and we haven't even got into the press release either. So, there's like so many hours stacking up of work that we're talking about with very little time to do it. So let me ask you guys what you see as the solutions, the priorities, with the time we have to work with. What can we do? What can we do right now? What should we do?
All right, so I think that what we can do like this, like today, like I think we should focus on the email for the experts and the media. So Jared is able to send them like by 5:30 in the morning. And also the press release, I think we're able to finish everything tonight. And regarding the video, I don't know if that's gonna be too much for you, Jared. I'm not sure, because it's already like late. And yeah, but I think that if we have time, I think it's a great idea. It all depends like of the work that we have, but I'm pretty sure that the press release and the emails, we can get it done by today. So
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mariana, for kind of cutting through it and, finding, something that we can latch onto and create some results with. So that's great. So let's take it from that perspective. Like you're saying, let's focus on the 2 emails and the press release. So let's go ahead. I think, Sabah, you had added that one link that I just copied while we've been in the meeting, right? Are you starting to add the links and references into the document? Are you doing that now in real time? We're not hearing you. You're on mute.
I'll add it now.
Okay. Let's go back into the document, because this is where So was this link already there, or did you just add this since we've started the meeting, Sabah? This link.
I just added.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So great. So you're gonna add that, you know, the other links, the other places in here that we have the thing. See a
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
a bunch of these details, like based on the vaccination history of the first Americans and long-term, all of this, that's going to get cut out. I can tell you right off the bat. There's no part of this paragraph right here that's going to make it into the final cut of our script. You're seeing how little time we have, right? Already with just this, it already went 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And then, you know, that's not counting. So, you know, I don't know how long Katie's is already, but then we also have the pretty lengthy conclusion, you know, and also.
Yeah, you can add or exclude it because I was planning to give you a general idea of what I was writing. So,
Yeah, it's great. I'm glad we have the content because now we can potentially use the content again in another video, in something else. But I'm just like making the point that for our 5-minute presentation, we have to really cut a lot of things down. And the one thing I was going to mention, and I don't know, you know, if Katie was thinking otherwise, but I'll tell you off the bat that I need to close the presentation rather than Katie closing the presentation, because, you know, the emotion and strength of what I'm going to be sharing, the impassioned speech I'm going to be using, can't be followed by Katie just being like a normal tone or whatever. It would totally wash out everything that I said. It would be forgotten by the time Katie was done. So it has to be that Katie goes first, and then I kind of, you know, blow the doors off and then drop the mic and walk away. So that's kind of got to be it. Yes, thank you, Sabah. So yeah, so we have to put it that way. So in terms of the conclusion, let me just read the conclusion real quick so I can see what's in here. Well, I said I was going to read everything before, and I read my part. I guess let me read Katie's part in the conclusion so I know what else is in here. So mixed messages, vaccine producers, oh, that's my part. Worldwide pandemic. A major concern to consider is the WHO's moratorium and the critique that the booster doses would be better served going towards lower income countries vaccinating their populations. This is especially vital as we have seen that unvaccinated populations have the potential to develop variants. A decrease in supply also further aggravates health inequities and disparities that these communities face. We must consider not only the US responsibility to the worldwide community, but also to our own community. We continue to have significant portions of our population unvaccinated and at risk. Many experts have pointed out that the way to end the pandemic is to address hesitancy, and as vaccine hesitancy is one of the WHO's top 10 threats to global health, it is important that the US focus our resources on the vaccine hesitant population. Now, here is the challenge. I shared this with Katie when we were doing the application, and we're gonna have to, let me just put the notes in here. So many experts have pointed out is great way to use others' voices. Okay, so this is the thing, is we have to say that, to put it, I'm not even gonna put it up. We have to say that, you know, we are hearing, or the experts are saying, or whatever it is. What we can't do is say something like this. It is important that the US focus our resources on the vaccine hesitant population. Oh, maybe this is the continuation that many experts have said. Let me read it again. Maybe it just needs to be worded a little bit better. Many experts have pointed out that the way to end the pandemic is to address hesitancy. And as vaccine hesitancy is one of the WHO's top 10 threats to global health, it is important that the US focus our resources on the vaccine hesitant population. Okay, so the way it's written to me is that this sounds like we are saying it, and that's what we cannot do. It cannot sound like Katie is saying or Jared is saying we must focus our resources on the vaccine hesitant population. That's going beyond the neutrality situation, and we're not here to tell the FDA or the US government how to focus the resources. We can only be the messenger of sentiments that are out there. But when we're doing that, we have to be able to have some kind of article or something that's saying that, rather than us just kind of pulling it out of the air, right? Because if we're not quoting someone and we're just saying that, people say it's important, then, it's us saying it, and we don't want to be in a role that we're saying those things. So let me finish that, but let me see the chats that you guys are sending. Oh, okay, the stopwatch on what I was doing. Got it. I forgot to do that, or to think about that. Okay, does that make sense in terms of the how we're getting things across? Is everybody clear about that? Okay, so let me continue going real quick. The concerns discussed in the WHO moratorium are mirrored in low income versus high income areas in the United States, with vaccinations in rural areas lagging behind their urban counterparts. So again, this is where we have to have references. And of course, we're not going to have the references verbally said, but this is where, when it's on the website, as people are, accessing our presentations on the website, then all of this should be referenced so that we can go ahead and make sure that, people can find the sources for this information, okay? I'm getting a little off track because I know we want to focus on the letters and the press release. So let's go ahead and finish this up, and then we'll get those finished up. So the concerns discussed in the WHO moratorium are mirrored in low income versus high income areas in the United States, with vaccinations in rural areas lagging behind their urban counterparts. A large barrier to those in rural areas is in fact vaccine hesitancy. People in rural areas who already face health disparities require assistance and resources to address the hesitancy of their community members. To quote Director General Dr. I'm not even trying to say his name, economically, epidemiologically, and morally, it is in all countries' best interest to use the latest available data to make life-saving vaccines available to all. This includes all of the US as well. So, and here's a reference, so that's great. So the data that the CDC has collected on vaccinations reveals that the rate of people getting booster vaccinations has already overtaken the rate of people getting their first dose or getting fully vaccinated. This information is important for us to understand, since the COVID-19 death toll took over a year to surpass 2.5 million globally, while the new Delta variant, with the new Delta variant, a 2.5 million death toll was recorded in under 8 months. As mentioned previously, lower income people are more susceptible to the variant. Thus, the focus should be on increasing vaccinations for people all around the world to protect the young and the old, as well as the rich and the poor. So what was the timing on that?
So it was more than 5 minutes actually.
More than 5 minutes even?
Yeah.
Well,
So it's kind of, yeah.
that not counting all the things I was saying about this, just reading straight through it.
Yeah. Maybe it was, let me check again. Because yeah, it says 5 minutes.
I was feeling like I was talking for a while. I was feeling like I was
Yeah.
going for more than 3 minutes. So
Maybe
that's-
because I didn't stop like what you said before, that it was really quick. So maybe it was like 4 something, like at maximum.
right, but it's still way more than we have time for, and it's way more detail than we can put into a presentation like this. So Katie's really got to work on cutting it down. We've got to get that message across to her really quickly, because she's on a track of a lot of extra information that she can't include. So the conclusion, let me read the conclusion. Our top defense now, okay, can we time this as well, Maria?
Yeah, let me do it. Okay. Okay. You can start.
Our top defense now is vaccination, which provides protection from COVID-19 and its potential complications. The FDA previously approved one vaccine to prevent COVID-19 illness and now has issued emergency use authorization for 3 vaccines to prevent COVID-19. The people of America need straightforward facts and science, not reassurance that all will be well. Arthur Kaplan, a bioethicist at NYU Langone Health. There has been uncertainty and mixed messages both from the CDC and FDA about when the booster shots will be recommended to strengthen immunity against COVID-19. The Americans knew that COVID-19 vaccines would not be effective over time, and there is a high chance that variants might come and the vaccines wouldn't be able to fight it. If developed countries start offering boosters, then developing countries will follow, and the effect on the worldwide resources will be catastrophic. The decision should be made if the existing vaccines should be the booster, third shot, third dose, then there will be fewer doses available for the rest of the nations to use. Doses are consumed directly or wasted in higher income countries, taking them away from where they are needed the most.
So it was 1 minute and 19 seconds.
Okay, so that's not too bad, but it's still, there's a lot of language in here that's not appropriate for our project. So I'm a little concerned that Katie's on the track, that she thinks that we can say all of these things, not coming from the Vaccine Considerations Project. If Katie applied independent, oh, this is your language, Sabah. Okay, got it. I forgot. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is your language, Sabah. So some of it, like the quotes here are really good. Like we could use that and certain other things. But here you can see what you're doing is you're saying, you know, we need to do this, we need to do that. And that's not what we're showing up to do. We can say that Arthur said this, and we can say that so-and-so said this, but we can't say if developing countries, then, you know, the decisions should do this, and, you know, we can't just tell the FDA what they should be doing. That's not our role in this. Our role is to help, you know, help the FDA open its eyes and its ears to what the voices are out there, right? And help those voices be represented and heard, but not us to be another voice along with the other voices. Do you get what I'm saying?
I was confused by this part, and I have a few more quotes from Mayo Clinic, WHO and CDC. I'm planning to add in the conclusion.
That's the thing. Again, what you're creating now, I want you to keep doing it, because we need we can use this content somewhere. And the presentation needs to be a very small fraction of this, as you can see. The conclusion is going to be like a 1-sentence conclusion, like a 2-sentence conclusion at the most, you know, not like a bunch of different paragraphs with a bunch of different quotes and all that sort of thing, just in terms of the time that we have. And that's where right now we need to, for the press release, we kind of need to narrow it down to like what is the most important thing to get across right now. And that's why I wanted to find, let me try one more time, just really a short amount of time. I want to see if I can find that one clip from this morning, because I felt like, again, that in a very short amount of time, in about a minute or 2 minutes, I really got a lot of the sentiment across. So let me just see if we can capture that, because it's almost like capturing that and putting it into the press release. It's kind of the way that I see it.
Scientists, you would have to think.
Yeah, all right, at least we found
So
it
it's
there.
not, I'm sorry, the Johnson & Johnson. What the hell is going on? You know, chop that clip and we can send that to the media tomorrow as message about or another. Either the FDA, it's shameful. It's for that arrogance. We're to Mariana, appreciated the messaging that we were putting out. Like, that's the thing I was mentioning to Mariana today. We'll get into it just a little bit. I'm not going to keep talking too much longer here, but we're
So I think this is the start. So let's see, from 5:20.
potentially, and that's what we have to talk about this meeting, the tone and what we're going to focus on. Because right now, my inclination is to really like take a whip to the FDA, you know, to just really chastise them for that arrogant FDA inclination, the tone and what we're going to focus on. Because right now, my inclination is
So 5:28 is where we start, where I say right now my inclination.
really like take a whip to the FDA, you know, to just really chastise them for that arrogance and inconsideration of the scientific community, to give them no opportunity to provide any meaningful input on all of this. It's shameful. It's so shameful. And the words that just came out of my mouth may be the very words that come out of my mouth in the presentation. And that's going to be significant, you know, one way or another. Either the FDA will never want to have us back.
So now I'm talking about it, so it's not all content, but let me go a little bit longer.
Or they will always want to have us back, or somewhere in between. But also it has the potential to really like go viral, that message. If there's nobody else really delivering that kind of impassioned message about how can you know.
So let's look at starting it here again. So we trailed off somewhere. I don't know where the end was, from 5:28 and somewhere again. Someone marked down, we're going to start again at 6:26. Let's see what we get in this soundbite.
Keep saying to trust you when you're doing nothing to build trust in your process, right? We know what building trust in a process looks like. It looks like peer review. Nothing even, it counts without peer review, and what they're doing is without peer review at this point. So they're basically going against the scientific norm to just do something. What, you know, how can they go home and look themselves in the mirror, you know? It's what's going on here? So again, that's you know, and what I just shared, actually,
So that ended at 7 minutes. So that's like a 30-second clip right there that we could potentially use from 6:28 to 7. Is that what we said? Let me write that down. But I'm sharing it with you because this is what I want to get across, at least in part, in the press release. So there's like the I don't know how to say it exactly. I hope you guys are going to find some ways to say. This is kind of a model like we've talked about before. Let me write something down real quick there. I'll write down the timestamp. This is like a model for, you know, what I'm doing with the outreach team in general, as I've shared with you guys, is I want to give you guys all the raw material. Like, here's me talking on video, here's what I wrote, you know, all these different pieces, and for you guys to figure out ways to package it and put it together in a way that is interesting to the media. Like, what's going to be the big story for the media? What's the headline? Maybe let's start with that. What's the headline? Are you talking to us, Sabah? Because we're not hearing you. You're on mute. No? Okay. Okay. So what is the headline that for what we're saying? So let's start with that. Let's come up with a headline, and then maybe everything will flow from there. So who has an idea for a headline for, you know, all of this?
Can you give us kind of an idea of what the like a good headline could be?
Yeah, I'm a little confused about like how we should start, like with the headline, like.
Yeah, so let's go back again to the samples that we have in the folder. Press releases, and then sample press releases, and then we can go to Uniting for Action launch. So how to effectively address issues now. Uniting for Action fills in the gaps to help popular movements succeed. So you have a headline, and then you have like a tagline that gives a little bit more instruction. So this headline is what you normally see when you're browsing, like when you go to, you know, like I go to Yahoo, as you've seen, for my news. So I go to Yahoo, and then as I scroll down, you know, here's all the headlines: sea level rise, startling images of what it would look like. You know, unvaccinated man met doctor at bar, then what? Fully vaccinated people who previously had COVID-19 should be last in line for booster shots, people say. You know, FDA says not all requirements were met for Moderna's COVID-19 booster shot. Let's see what they have to say about this. This is pretty interesting, right? The FDA is saying that Moderna hasn't met all the requirements, so are they even considering it tomorrow? So that's an interesting headline. We're going to have to look into this more, because this could change the nature of what we're putting into our presentation tomorrow if the FDA is not even recommending that it get approved, even though it's up for approval. FDA scientists' analysis of J&J COVID-19 booster data raises red flags. So again, it's important for us to see, you know, what the headlines are right now, because these are the headlines we're going to be competing against, right? It did not receive enough. U.S. Food and Drug Administration scientists said on Wednesday, which is today, they did not receive enough data in time to do their own analysis of Johnson & Johnson's application for a booster dose of its COVID-19 vaccine, but the agency's review of company studies raised some red flags. Advisors to the FDA will meet on October 15th to assess the risks and benefits, which is currently given as a single dose. In its review, FDA scientists repeatedly noted the limitation of a small sample size of many of the company's studies. They noted that the data used to support administering a booster 6 months after initial shot relied on a test to measure immune response that has not been validated and possibly was not sensitive enough. So, okay, so we'll have to look into this more. U.S. health officials have been under pressure to offer advice on booster doses after the White House announced in August it planned to roll out boosters beginning last month for most adults. So the FDA on Tuesday released its assessment of Moderna's booster application, neither assessment made a recommendation to the panel on whether the data supports use of booster shots. All right, well, getting back to your question in terms of headlines. So let me show you just a couple other headlines that I've used from the different press releases that I've put out in the past for Action for Gun Safety, how to effectively address gun violence. Now, this is actually not a good headline at all. I shouldn't even be showing this to you because this is not like attention getting. The headlines need to be attention getting. Let's see if we did better here. Coalition shares effective solutions reducing gun violence in Detroit. None of those are really great, but you get the idea of we want to capture people's attention in a few words, right? So that's the headline. So I think the headline should be something along the lines of what I'm thinking is what keeps being out there, but let me just say it, something along the lines of FDA scientists along with World Health officials, World Health Organization officials express extreme concerns about boosters or something like that, or top scientists express extreme concerns about boosters. So let's start with that as a working headline. So it had, something that's a little bit of a tease, right? Something that's going to have people be interested to want to read the next couple lines to see what's there. So do you think that's a decent start, or at least it gives you an idea of what I think might be on the right path for a headline?
Yes, I think it's good. Jared, can you just repeat? Because I'm taking notes, so I just want to write it down.
Yeah. So I said something like top
scientists.
I said science. I'm in my head. I'm editing a little bit, but let's just say top scientists express extreme concern about boosters. So I think that's good because I think that's general enough that people are like, what's this extreme concern, and then they read it and then they see. So, but then the next line needs to explain it a little bit. So then the next line, which is kind of like the tagline, would be something like Vaccine Considerations Project will, let's say, Vaccine Considerations Project is presenting scientists' concerns to the FDA Advisory Committee on October 14th and 15th or something like that. And so then again, so they get the headline, okay, what is this all about? Then they read the next line, then they know more of the context for it, then they're hearing about our name. We can consider trying to put our name into the headline, if there's a way to conveniently work it in. But the headline needs to be pretty compact. The next line then gives a little bit more of what's going on here. And then it goes into it. And then that's where, in the press release, we're going to say something along the lines of, as an organization, You guys are typing as I'm talking now.
Yeah.
Okay. As an organization, comma, the Vaccine Considerations Project, and we're gonna have to change that because our Vaccine Considerations Project is not an organization, but we'll figure it out. As an organization, comma, the Vaccine Considerations Project has been tracking concerns of nationally prominent and internationally, maybe just say nationally and internationally prominent scientists, including top officials at the World Health Organization, outgoing top FDA officials, or soon to be resigning, or recently, I don't even know how to put that. Let's just say soon to be resigning top FDA officials, comma, and even I'm not sure if the sentence makes sense anymore, but I'm just giving you the words now. And even contradicts past statements from Dr. Fauci, the CDC, the FDA, the President of the United States. Period, new paragraph. Are you guys keeping up with me?
Mhm.
Okay. In a moment that top US federal agencies are struggling to gain and maintain people's trust, comma, very questionable concerns of influence have been widely reported in the past several weeks. Period, new paragraph. The founder of Uniting for Action and the Vaccine Considerations Project, comma, Jared Krupnik, comma, will be one of only 3 outside experts that will present to the FDA Advisory Committee on Friday, October 15th, to ask the committee, comma, and the FDA themselves to hold themselves to a higher level of accountability, comma, and scientific rigor. Period, new paragraph. Quote, end quote. I don't know what the quote's going to be yet. Says says Krupnik. New paragraph. Not only are the FDA processes being called into question, comma, but also Katie McQueen, comma, a master's in public health candidate from the Colorado School of Public Health, comma, who is interning, doing her, actually, you can say doing her practicum or completing her practicum with the Vaccine Considerations Project this fall. We'll be sharing information about how the US distributing boosters is counter to prevailing global public health what's the word I'm looking for? Prevailing global public health recommendations. It's not recommendations. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Let's just say use the word wisdom now, but mark it to change it. But it's going against the global public health. Best practices is another word that's coming to mind, but I don't think that's the best word either. So I'll let you guys find the word, but it's something like wisdom, best practices, accepted
Proposal?
norms, something like that. New paragraph. James Rios, comma, a master's in economics candidate from Florida International University, comma, also a fall intern with the Vaccine Considerations Project. Excuse me, will be presenting ways that the FDA can use new technologies to more effectively consider expert sentiment. We may need to change that a bit. We probably have to I have to reread James's presentation from when I read it before, but I think that that's essentially along the lines of what he's presenting. So far, have you guys typed that out? Is that like one typed page? Is it 1.5 pages? Like how long is that so far from what I've shared?
So I don't know like for sure because I started writing down like in the paper and then in the middle I typed. So I need to put everything on the computer. So I'm not sure how many
Okay.
pages like.
Okay, I think that's a good start as a foundation for what we're doing. I think maybe we can find some of these other quotes. I want to show you a quote that I want to work into the press release because you know, and that's where we should have some statement about the FDA officials resigning, you know, making a big deal about that part of it, and then having a quote from them as well. It's in what we sent to them. So let me just find it here. It's not in here. So we probably want to have, well, we'll have to think about whether we want to have this quote in there or not. And then the other quote is this one. So this is from the Lancet. This is from the article that includes the two FDA officials that are leaving. Marianne, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, I just have a question. How many pages does it need to be like the maximum, like 2 pages or only 1 page?
The 2 pages is probably the maximum for the press release, is probably what we should work with.
All right.
Yeah, which needs to include some information about us as an organization at the bottom as well. So it's probably more like 1.5 pages,
Mhm.
somewhere in that range. It's gonna
And
be
should we include like the link to our website?
oh yeah, all of that.
Yeah, for sure, right? All right.
Absolutely, yeah. So like this quote, you can find and pull out this quote. So this is our draft for our proposal. So in the draft for the proposal, there's this quote, which is, I guess, at the top of page 3. So even if boosting were eventually shown to decrease the medium-term risk of serious disease, current vaccine supplies could save more lives if used in previously unvaccinated populations than if used as boosters in vaccinated populations. So that's essentially the statement that had those people resign, as far as, you know, the press can tell, because what they're saying is that, you know, essentially, you know, it's been reported that Dr. Fauci and the White House or whatever was wanting to, you know, just have not as many people get as sick, right? That not as many older people in particular would get as sick. But by having these boosters, you know, my mom ran right out to get one. My dad ran right out to get one. You know, they wanted to have all the protection they could have, right? Of course, anybody would want that. And it makes sense from an individual perspective. Hey, I want to be as protected as I can be. But again, in the bigger picture of public health, we understand that, you know, by diverting all of these boosters away from, you know, first-time vaccine receivers, then it's just creating a more of a pool of opportunity for variants to develop, right? So, So that quote needs to be in there. Maybe this quote by Dr. Fauci, because this quote by Dr. Fauci really cuts across the grain. Because again, right now, Dr. Fauci's been, kind of like a booster proponent, right? Like he was the one that was out there saying, yeah, by August 20th, or October, whenever it was, we'll all have our we'll start getting our boosters that week. Remember, he was saying that. And then everybody had to kind of backpedal and say, hold on, kind of thing. So Dr. Fauci has been kind of out ahead of the curve and like saying, yeah, boosters are coming and all that. But as I showed you guys at the meeting the other day, and when you give it, this quote right here, and when you give it an ample opportunity to mutate, you may sooner or later get a variant. And it's possible that when that variant, blah, 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 virus in the community. And then this is the important point. When we know that the community that Dr. Fauci is referring to is the global community, then Dr. Fauci's statement starts to become a supporting statement for the position of the World Health Organization, right? So I think what you guys can do is you can work with, this document, which was, what we sent in as our proposal. This has a lot of good detail in it. You've got the other, document that Katie and Sabah and the others are working on now that's also got content in it. I think the foundation of what I gave you for the press release is a good start, and you can see what other pieces you can add in or tweak or massage. And then I think that in terms of the letter for the experts, I think that what you have is a good start as well. Did you guys get the email that I sent earlier? Did anybody check yet to make sure?
Yes, I did.
You got it? Okay. So use that for any additional ideas. There's also the one pager. I need to share the one pager with you guys if you guys don't have it handy, because the one pager is what's also we're going to send out to the experts because we have it available. We've created it already. And it is, I think that's in that page too. It's not in there. This will give you an idea of how we're some of how we're sharing things with the experts. So this will help give you an idea for the email to the experts of how to communicate to them. So I apologize that we're past 8:30. I'm rushing now to wrap it up because I don't want to keep going. I want you guys to be able to go forward from here. Stakeholder package, expert package, final package. This is actually not the final package. So this was one version. Have you guys seen this? You've seen it, Mariana? Maria, Sabah, have you seen this? Yeah, okay, good. But this isn't the final version. So let's find the final version. Okay, yeah, this is the final version. Okay, so here is where, this one pager talks about, we're presenting experts for action. We want your voice to be heard, all of those sorts of things, and then strength in numbers and what we're doing. So this will give you some information. Let me go ahead and share this with you guys. And then there might be some other documents in the same folder, but that'll give you guys some content to work with in terms of how to approach the experts. And also, again, this will be a part of the package that we'll send out, so you can reference it in the email as well. I think I've given you all the raw materials there are to give you right now to work with for these three things. Like you said, the press release, the letter to the experts, and the email to the press or the media, which you have the other examples of. So do you guys feel like I've given you everything you need for you to be able to send me what you consider final versions? And then when
Yes.
I get up around 1 or 2 in the morning and I start working on them, they'll be finished enough that I can polish them up and we can start sending them out.
Yes, I believe that with all the materials you've provided us right now, I think we're gonna be able to finish everything. So
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else that you guys need from me at this point? Do you feel like you're going to be okay if I go to sleep now, or should I wait a little while and see if why don't we do this? I'll give you guys at least a half hour, let's say until 9:15 Eastern at least, for you guys to ask me questions, send messages on WhatsApp, and I'll keep responding to you. If we find there's still questions and stuff and you still need more time, I'll stay up later. But if I've answered everything by then, that'll be perfect. And then I'll go to sleep after that. How does that sound?
that's perfect. Mhm.
Okay, great. And then you guys can just post everything on the drive and send me the links and send me emails, whatever you want to do for everything.
All right.
So what did you just send to us, Sabah?
The document we were editing, I added few more points in that.
Okay, great. So that's, okay, perfect.
If you all just want to open it and review once.
Okay, and this is the same link that you shared in the WhatsApp chat before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's where I'm gonna go to the WhatsApp chat and I'm gonna find the link there and click on it. That's how I'm gonna get there. I just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So thank you for updating that. So now Maria and Mariana, you've got these updates from Sabah as well. Okay, great. So let's leave it at that. For the next half hour at least, I'll be available via WhatsApp chat. And then why don't you tell me at 9:15 whether you'd like me to still be available or whether you guys feel like you're ready to continue on without me. And does that sound like a good plan? Okay, great. And then I think, let's just circle back tomorrow. I forget offhand what everyone's availability is tomorrow for us to talk or chat yeah, please remind me.
Oh, yeah. So I have classes tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6:15 p.m. So yeah, but after that or before that, I can, yeah. And during the day, I can also like reply whatever message. So I'm not gonna be available to join Zoom meetings, but through WhatsApp, I'm free.
Okay. In terms of if we do want to have any kind of messaging back and forth with you before 10 a.m., like what's the earliest that we should message you?
I think like 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere between
yeah.
8:30 and 10. Okay.
Yeah.
And Maria and Sabah, what are your availabilities tomorrow?
I'm available morning tomorrow till noon, like till 2 p.m. tomorrow your time.
Okay, let me make a quick note here. I'm not sure if we're gonna need it for anything, but would you be available at the same time that Mariana would be available, which would be 6:30 to 8 a.m. your time? Is that a
Yes.
window? Huh?
I can do that for tomorrow.
Okay, I appreciate if we need to. Again, we'll only go there if we need to. Maria, is that a window of availability for you as well if we need to connect tomorrow as a team?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm available after 1 p.m. because I have to do like a group assignment. But yeah, after 1 p.m. I'm fine. Eastern time. So yeah.
But are you available from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. if we need to connect then That's the only.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, through like WhatsApp.
Well, I was thinking if we might need to do like a quick Zoom meeting to all talk about something or something like that. Or it
Yeah.
might be WhatsApp. We might not need to talk at all. I'm just trying to, see if something's happening and I'm like, let me see what the team wants to do or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, through Zoom meeting, maybe not, but through WhatsApp, yes. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so Mariana, 8:30 to 10 a.m. and then after 6:15 p.m. I can't even believe tomorrow is our team meeting. I'm so off on the days this week. I got so thrown off by starting on. I also can't get it in my head that James is actually presenting tomorrow. That like struck me like a few hours ago. It's like, wait a second, we don't even like we're presenting tomorrow. We don't even have any more time. Like this is happening tomorrow. Sabah until 2 p.m. Eastern. And then Maria after 1 o'clock. Okay, so we'll see what we need to do, but let's end this now. I'll be available for the next half hour at least. You guys will tell me whether you want me to stick around or not. And I have to say, I really, really honor and appreciate, the work that you guys are doing right now and all of the hours. Wow. We've put in almost 4 hours just in meetings today. So thank you guys so much for that and for taking all the time to do all this. This is really wonderful. So I'm super excited about the results that we're creating. You guys are amazing. Let me, let's get some emoji claps up here. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Go team, outreach team. You guys rock. We're putting it together. This is really great. This is a really great experience, isn't it, for you guys in terms of the type of experience that you wanted to have by having an internship like this, right? Like this is it, right? So I'm glad that we could deliver our side of it and give you guys, what you're looking for to get out of this and nice career building experience to understand what goes into actually doing something like this, right? All the details and all the coordination and all the everything. So that's really, really great. Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for everything. Thanks for everything you're doing and keep up the great work. Great job. Have a good night. I'll talk to you guys soon.
I have to discuss about tomorrow's presentation with you. You said at 8:30.
Yes. See you, Maria. Let me stop the recording here.